For decades, Xavier and Heather Martin have used mung beans as a summer rainfall opportunity crop on their New South Wales property. But over the last 5 years, the broadleaf legume has gained more importance in their farming system.
What's really good about mung beans is the short growing season. So it's in and in the silo, in and out and in the silo before you've had time to blink. We also found it very beneficial for breaking the disease cycle with wheat.
With low nutrition requirements and providing good summer grassweed control, this break crop fixes nitrogen in the soil, saving a financial input for the next crop. And mung beans don't deplete the entire moisture profile.
They tend to only use the top half a metre, maybe 600, 700 mils maximum, so you've still got some moisture left that then doesn't take as much topping up to get back into a winter rotation or a following summer rotation.
Another advantage is not being directly linked to a specific market, aiding growers in risk management.
They're really a vegetable, and so you're not beholden to the commodity markets. And I think the point being is seen in that it decouples from the soybean price quite effectively, even though there is notionally some relationship in terms of how and where it might be grown.
Under the National Mungbean Improvement Program, led by Queensland's Department of Agriculture, Fisheries and Forestry with GRDC support, the industry has doubled in size. Genetic gains have seen the variety Crystal deliver a 20% yield increase on older lines, as well as provide improved disease resistance. And in the breeding pipeline is another variety that's expected to lift yields a further 10%.
We're dealing with an industry now of around 70,000 to 80,000 tonnes per annum, so it's quite a solid and substantial industry.
While 70,000 tonnes isn't huge in terms of global production, it does represent around 60% of what's traded internationally, making us a significant player on the global stage. And international trade is where the profits are, with countries like India being massive mung bean consumers.
In India, mung beans are a staple food. They have a long shelf life over there, and I think they're available to everybody.
Little wonder then that Xavier and Heather used prize money from receiving last year's Australian Mungbean Association Production Award for Excellence to head overseas to see how crops are grown by the nation producing the world's largest volume of mung beans.
To go to India, where there's 1.5 million tonnes of mung beans in consumption, black gram and green gram, and see how they do it, what they're doing, what their challenges are, and how they're addressing those, was really excellent.
As well as ideas on continual cropping, Xavier gained valuable insight into traditional mung bean nutrient requirements.
I think it's really important to understand the soil fertility that you're looking to plant your mung beans in, to understand not just the micronutrients but the major nutrients and making sure they're within a reasonable zone, and if not, addressing that with some sort of starter fertiliser is going to be important to have a healthy plant.
The industry has seen healthy prices too. Returns for mid-range processing mung beans have been between $750 and $850 per tonne.
With good returns available, there's plenty of incentive to grow mung beans. But what should growers take into consideration when looking to plant this short-season pulse?
It's really important to manage the things we can manage, to do the preparedness, to leave the only thing perhaps to chance should be rainfall. If everything else is covered off, chances of having a great success at the other end are greatly enhanced.
Being able to get the crop harvested and onto aerated storage in a timely manner is also key.
It'll keep quite well for quite a few months, and so there's time to understand what qualities, what quantity you've harvested, and to market that effectively. And the opportunities can change dramatically. I've seen pricing double in less than 30 days.
Successful marketing necessitates a shift in thinking.
It's not as simple as just delivering them to the local receival point. You need a good relationship with a marketer. They are sold internationally as a vegetable, and we keep saying that word, as a vegetable crop. So it's a different mindset for the Australian grower who's used to growing a cereal, wheat or sorghum.
Because this pulse crop is sold as a vegetable, post-harvest processes like grading, packing and certifying are also important.
They're exported and consumed virtually straight out of the bag that they're packed packed into here in Australia. So the presentation and the quality is paramount, and again, attention to detail by the grower to achieving that is terribly important, but it does position us at the upper end of the marketplace, and that's where the profit is for the Australian producers.
That profit can make a big difference to your bottom line.
The opportunity is there to get another $800 or $1,000 per hectare in that financial year, because there's such a fast crop. So you can turn 2% rate of return or a 5% rate of return into a 15 or 18% rate of return.
If you actually sit down and work out the dollar return per day of crop, mung beans would be one of your most profitable broadacre crops that you could actually grow. Again, much more akin to a horticultural crop.
And the future's looking bright, with demand on the rise.
We're seeing this emerging gap in production and consumption in the traditional marketplaces, being places like India, Burma, that part of the world. So they are short, and that gap is growing continuously.
The National Mungbean Improvement Program is set to continue to capitalise on that opportunity.
So plant breeding is the main focus of that program. We're also now starting to look at the agronomic processes, nutrition, time of planting, plant population, all those sorts of things, to really maximise the genetic potential in these new varieties that are coming out of that program.
As Xavier saw firsthand in India, Australia is well positioned to gain from growing international demand.
It was really hard to find any quality in the markets that was anything approaching Australia's quality. It gives me great confidence that if we do it well in this nation, we'll easily be able to meet and exceed the expectations of those hungry people around the world.